How's it going?
Good.
Hi.
Okay, thanks everyone to join our weekly Team B call. We are so excited that we have a very special guest from Saskatchewan, Joan Johns, who is a national marketing director and has been for a long time. She's like an anchor in Canada. She's been one of the first women to be NMD in Canada. And she has been showing up to all the NMD meetings probably right from the beginning, and has contributed a lot to a lot of the programs and stuff that you've seen, over the years, because, of people like Joan that have been around for so long and know the system and know the ways and know how to do this business. And the reason why we wanted to have Joan on tonight to kind of be interviewed was a lot of you guys are new to the team and you've never heard Joan's story. And I remember when Joan came out to Toronto, John had invited her, and she had shared her full story, and she had the entire room crying. And then at the end, you gave everybody a heart. And I still have that heart in my jewelry box. Every time I open my jewelry box, I think of you, Joan, because your story is so real and so raw. And, I just really appreciate you for your courage, for your strength, for not giving up on yourself, not giving up on the business, and not giving up on love, because Joan is engaged to an engaged, right? Engaged, not married yet.
No, not yet.
And that's another story over some wine down at conference.
It is.
But Joan, tonight, I just want to, I know you've only got, who's doing music? Holy cow, someone's dancing. Put yourself on mute. There we go. So Joan tonight is going to share her product story and business story. And we've got 30 minutes with Joan, and then we usually do it for about 20 minutes, and then we're going to open up to question period. So Joan, I'm going to just let you take it away and start sharing a little bit about that product story and business story and how you finally got to NMD with all the challenges that you faced.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nicole. That's very sweet of you. And I do remember that trip to Toronto. And, Nicole, it was one of my first kind of unveilings and sharing my story, which really became part of my healing journey. It was after 10 years of my accident that I actually began sharing my story. And I know Toronto was probably second on my list. I think I did Victoria, and then I came out and saw you guys. This business really is for everyone, and we come about it in so many different ways. My story actually stems back. I'm one of the older NMDs by age and also by length in this business. So my story kind of dates back to 1995. And for some of you, that's a very long time ago. And, I was probably in my prime in 95, I'll say that. I got to think about my age, and I was like 32 years old, heading to 33 that year. And so that gives you a little marker of where I'm at. But I was, at that time in 1995, I was married. I had 2 stepkids. I was working for the federal government. And I was really looking for something different in my life. And I think a lot of people are. We want to make a difference. We want to contribute in a different way. And the JOB just becomes a JOB, and it becomes pretty meaningless at times instead of meaningful. And I was looking for the meaningful part of what I wanted to do. So, I had sort of made a decision, and my mindset was to become an entrepreneur at that time. So I was kind of getting ready to head out, from being a career woman with the feds. And I was also an athlete. I pretty much picked up anything and chased a ball, ran after things as fast as I could, and ran into people as fast as I could. I had many sports I loved: soccer, volleyball, golf. I kind of came from all different levels. 4-wheel handball, which was a love of mine also. So when I was getting ready to leave this federal government, I actually had something really quick happen that changed my life forever. And that was in March of 1995, and I'll never forget it. I was working in Ottawa, and I was in there sharing with an analyst programmer. We were launching the Fall of Canada. And I was going up to see him in his building that was in a condo building and business building. And I went up the wrong staircase, and it was a marble staircase. And it was really interesting because that day it had an ice storm that had happened in Ottawa. And that's where I was. And I decided not to run the Rideau Canal because I didn't want to slip and fall. It's funny how you think about these things. And I was running 15, 20 Ks a day, getting ready for a marathon. So I stayed. So I stayed inside and I trained, and then I went and met this gentleman. So I went to the top of the staircase, and that's kind of when my world changed in seconds, and it really just happened that way. I turned because I realized I'd gone the wrong way. I was at a karate studio instead of at this elevator in the area I needed to be in the residential section, and my left foot went out, and I reached to hang on with my left arm, and I went off the top of this marble staircase, 15 stairs, and that really is when my life changed. I don't remember much. All I can tell you is I hung on for dear life, thinking to hold my head up. And I wasn't with the Juice Plus company at this time. And that's where Juice Plus comes into the story, is after my accident. But I went to the bottom of the staircase. I remember hitting the stairs and not being able to breathe and hearing popping and crunching and breaking. And I woke up at the bottom, I guess, in total body shock. And literally what I had done was bounced my head down the staircase, which was the most difficult part of my accident and still is today, my head injuries that I have, as well as my central nervous system that just was torn from head to toe and went on fire. I had broken a lot. I had dislocated. I had torn my pelvis open. I had dislocated ribs. The staircase had hit me in the various sections, and it had popped ribs off my chest and broke ribs right down to my ninth rib. It had damaged my neck. It had tore out my left arm. Just everything was a mess. And that's when life changed. I somehow, the taxi was still outside. I guess I got in it. He remembered who I was and he took me back. And I really can't tell you much after that. What I do remember is as I began my journey, once I got back to Regina where I was living and had gone into emergency there, I was then in a wheelchair by the time I got off the plane the next day. I was just functioning like I had broke ribs. I had broken many things being an athlete, and this was just another segment of life for me. And I just thought, okay, don't breathe, just get on the airplane. I'm going to get home. But it really, the storm became worse, and I was in that total body shock. So as I went through the first 3 to 4 months of my accident, not only could I not walk across a green light or get a quart of a breath in, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. They just said I was bruised and broken and needed to heal. I started breaking down on the inside. And that's when, you know, from the physical stress, and we see how the immune system reacts to stress. And that's what happened to me. I started getting very sick on the inside. I started getting cough, colds, flus, and I just couldn't deal with it. And I had ribs. I had like 7 ribs dislocating out of the front of my chest. I had 3 broken, 3 that were subluxed completely through my costal cartilage, right at my heart and my lungs, 3, 4, and 5. So it was a really difficult time, and life changed, and I couldn't think. I had 5 headaches at once. I had spasms that went through my entire body. And, you know, it's that pivotal point in life where crisis or tragedy really brings us to where we need to be. And for me, it introduced me to Juice Plus. It took me a journey, though. It took about 9 months before I found Juice Plus. I ran across a gentleman in our community, and he shared Juice Plus with me. I had gone out as an entrepreneur still. I didn't let go of my dream. That was the competitive nature of sport for me. I still left the feds. I thought I would heal. Bottom line is I didn't to the degree that I needed to. Can you grab that, Richard? Sorry. And so the interesting part was this is when I came across Juice Plus in the community in the spring of '96. And I was getting a lot of cough, cold, flus, and infections. And my ex-husband, he was a professional football player, and he held me like a football every time I was coughing or vomiting in hope to save all my ribs, but it didn't help. Things just got worse. So as I fell into Juice Plus and I started to learn about fruits and veg in a capsule, I said, you know what, I need those. I understand the concept of food. I understand the importance of fueling properly. Being an athlete, you know, we look to fuel for performance. Many of you have probably experienced that. And I had to go to a different level. It became fueling for survival. That's what, you know, happened to me. And I just couldn't think of a better way at that time. Juice Plus just became that anchor. It was so fast, and I could just flood all these fruits and veg in, and a ton, because I just couldn't eat. When you have a lot of pain and you're not thinking straight, and my head injuries were huge, I just, my world was very clouded. I was so much in a survival mode. And, you know, this food literally kept me alive. And I began to see it, you know, I began to see like changes in the first 2 to 3 months for myself. I had arthritis in my hands. Now, certainly I was looking for my immune system, but my hands changed. I was a big figure skater, and I saw the arthritis change. I had irritable bowel from some things that happened from the gut health talks we have. And I had irritable bowel from that, and that changed for me. And then the cough, cold, and flu started to subside. And that was really when I knew I was going to be on a road to healing. But I also found that, you know what, this is for the right reasons, to give fruits and vegetables, not just to me, but to my family and to everybody. So as I was heading out in my consulting business, and I'd just been a year in, and I'd written a book on the self-help guide to marketing for Saskatchewan, I decided, you know what, I'm going to add this to my income stream. I'm going to add this to building a business, because you never know where money's going to come from or when you're going to need extra money. So I just saw it as another venue to put it into my business model as I was beginning. But I really saw this need in Canada, you know, and as we hear these doctors speak, and lots of us get to see those, you know, we're sick. And that's what I really, really got. And I saw that how much nutrition was changing my health. And I saw how much nutrition could change other people's health in Canada, the people I loved and cared about. And that's where I really thought that, you know, Juice Plus was going to be really a great place for me to share my heart and my passion, and just get through my own healing and help people I cared about, because there were so many people struggling. I mean, everybody has a story. It wasn't just me struggling at that point in 1996. So, you know, I kind of got off to a slow start. I had lots of things going on. You know, my health was a ton of pain. If you can imagine a 24-hour day, and I probably didn't sleep for 23 hours of it. I would sleep 15 minutes here, 20 minutes laying on my side. I would get pains from the ribs that were dislocated and broken. Then I couldn't breathe, so I'd have to sit up because I felt like I was suffocating. And those were my nights. And you don't heal when you're not sleeping, but you know, that's what was happening to me, and I couldn't change it. But what I did know is Juice Plus was fueling me. And for some reason, some way, I was getting through those days. And my will got stronger and stronger to not let other people fall into the system of nobody began to help me in Saskatchewan. They just said I was broken and bruised. Look, you're so fit. I can't believe this is happening to you. But they didn't know what was happening, and they just weren't willing to help. So I tried many things in the medical system and alternative. But in Saskatchewan, I wasn't getting where I needed to go. So the couple of years in business, it was really I was just surviving life, and I was just helping people get well. But my story was so weird that I didn't know how to share it. And so I didn't. I just let everybody know I was fine. And I would put on a brave face and this mask that we sometimes all wear for different reasons. And I went out there. And I just tried to help people get healthy little bit by little bit, because I wasn't huge in the business at that time. I just thought, I'm going to grow a customer base. I'm comfortable in that. I didn't know about network marketing and direct sales and that nature. So I was a little hesitant too. And in Saskatchewan, we weren't up and running as a province. So for the first 2 to 3 years, I built a customer base. I made about $1,000 a month. It was great. You know, I thought, this is great. It's an extra, you know, income into our home, which we needed. I was happy with that. And it kept me staying healthy and staying away from the cough, cold, and flus, because I really began to think about what was setting in my body. Disease, huge disease. And it scared the hell out of me. It literally did. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do what I can do. So it was a slow start. I just steadily shared, but my health challenges kept just escalating. One thing became worse to the next. And, you know, every year got worse. It got harder, not easier. But yet I stayed healthy on the inside. It's really strange, but that was the power of Juice Plus for me in my life. And I clung to the complete, because a lot of times I couldn't eat and chew or have an appetite, so I shook and drank. And that was a beautiful way for me to get the food in that I needed. So about 1998, Len Ward he adopted our downline. We had lost our leadership. There was nobody really in Saskatchewan at all doing Juice Plus. And the two gentlemen that introduced me left. But I didn't let it be an excuse. I thought, you know, if I want to do this business, I'm just going to do it. I'm a businesswoman. I can do this. It's simple. It's fruits and veg in a capsule. Now, keep in mind, we didn't have the tools we have today either, so we were really explaining things a lot. So unfortunately, we had to have a bit of verbal diarrhea back then. Mm-hmm. So when Len Ward came into my life, he started phoning, he started showing up. He drove in from Montana to see me. So I agreed to go to a conference, a leadership conference with him. This is a pivotal point. If you ever get a chance to do this, you really need to get there. This will change your world. It really will change the world. I went and I caught a bigger vision of what this company A was about. I saw this company that had huge values, huge integrity. I really loved the leadership, Jay Martin. Like, I will follow this man to the ends of the earth, and I know I'm not the only person. And when I see something that strong in a company and people that really care about the other people that are working with them and the people that they're actually helping, I just fell in love. It was just like I was in a new romance, because I just saw something that I just couldn't get anywhere else. And the world was a smile when I saw this. And, I was doing some fundraising and marketing, in my business, and I was raising, millions. And I just saw a company that was giving back in different ways. And that we only had the Children's Health Study back then, but I thought, what a great gift to give young families their children to eat free. I just really kind of clung to some of the stuff they were doing, Volunteers of America and things. And that really made me see a difference in that, I could take this business to another level and create a greater income. I align with these guys. I get it. And in fact, I really kind of didn't want my world back here. I wanted a new world that was over here. And that's that, our glasses change. It's amazing when that happens. So, I thought, what if, I could create this income that these people on stage were talking about as national marketing directors. I was a sales coordinator at this time, and not compromise by my values and my integrity. I saw this freedom, that people have, this fun, laughter. They were from all walks of life, really. And the woman that changed my life was this woman named Kathleen, and she was amazing. She had a grade 8 education. She was a truck driver in a community of 37 people, and she got on stage and did the woo with her truck. I thought, man, if this lady can do it, what the heck is wrong with me? I really should be able to do this. So I really became a student at that time of our business. And the real bonus for me was the benefits package. I don't know about you and where you're at in life and what you do for a living, but when you're an entrepreneur, we don't have a benefits package. We have to pay into something and hope that we will, as an independent contractor, that we have to pay extra money. And I saw a company that was going to give me that. So I just kind of added all these things up in 1998. I heard Jeff Roberti say, if you do 10 shares a week, you'll build so many customers a month. Or no, pardon me. Yeah, 2 shares a day, 5 days a week, you will build so many customers a month. If you build 10 customers a month for 5 months, you will be walking this stage in a new level. I thought, you're on, game on. I love competition. So that's what I did. I set my plan. I decided what I needed in life. And at one time it was just, paying off a vehicle. And then it was renovations in our home. And then I really began to ask myself about retirement. Could I retire early? And this time I was about 35 years old, and I thought, wow, if I could just not even be doing what normal people do and be retired in my 40s, that would be like a rocket star for me. So I just thought, that's what I want to do. So I began looking at ways that I could do this. Ask yourself this question: could $500 pay down some credit in your life? Could it give you some room to renovate your home? Is it your holiday money to take your family somewhere? It's just a way, I see it as a way to begin building this choice in our lives. And certainly that's what it was for me. So as I continued after that first conference, there was lots of things going on. I was consulting with this organization. I was building a foundation for them. They decided they needed to resect some ribs out of my chest. So they cut 3 out of the front of my chest at my lungs, my heart, 3, 4, and 5. And then that kind of changed everything. All of a sudden the ambulance started coming to our house. It was about every 4 to 5 weeks. And at the end of that year, I started to fall into cardiac arrest, and they didn't know why. And my brain challenges were getting worse. I would turn my head the wrong way and I would fall. I would stand up straight in the shower and the water would hit my face and I would go down. I could not understand what was happening to me. I'd bend over in my garden to clip my roses and I would be gone forward and blacked out, but my eyes are completely open. We didn't know what was going on. And again, in Saskatchewan, they just didn't have answers for me. I think the hardest part was back then is when they told me I couldn't go to the gym any longer. That was my reality check. I was always trying to still go to the gym, try to lift a weight, try to walk on a treadmill. And when I hit my cardiac arrest side of life, and there was 3 of them, it was my vagus nerve shutting down my heart and my lungs. That's when things got really rough. And when I couldn't do what I used to do, it became real that life became precarious. What did I have? I mean, this is where my reality left me. So I really had to ask some really hard questions. And what was I here for? Why did God leave me here? What am I supposed to do? So I decided I was going to stay true to my goal, and I was going to show my team what needs to be done and be unstoppable, just to go after what you want in life. So from 2000 to 2004, with all these ambulance visits and these challenges, and it took out my vocal box and these different things, I believed I could be NMD, and my upline believed I could too. And in 2004, I actually, I could taste retirement. I walked that stage in Memphis. I'll never forget it. My brother and my best girlfriend in life were with me. And it was pretty powerful for me, but lots of things were changing in my life at that time too. And I thought, if I could retire in that April of 2006, that was kind of my goal of where I wanted to be, and I would still be in my 40s, and I could retire early, and I could rest, I could heal, maybe I could find a way to get help with my health. Things would get better. I could just quit the 18 hours a day of contract work plus Juice Plus. But I was so passionate about Juice Plus, and it killed me that I had to be somewhere else other than Juice Plus. I don't know if you felt like that, but that's what happened, how I felt. So, I was ready to go to retire in April 2006. And then something funny always happens, doesn't it? Just when you think you've got the world by the tail, the rug gets pulled out from under you. Well, that was me, summer of 2005. And I'm sure you've had that feeling. My world just collapsed. I received a phone call from the creditors, the deputy sheriff actually, asking for $500,000 from me. My husband's business at that time was in huge financial trouble, and it was something he hadn't shared with me. And by the time the year was out, our marriage had pretty much deteriorated. Bankruptcy completely loomed going into Christmas of 2005. And the stress on my health just became worse. A doctor out of Norway, actually this is the beauty of our business, guys, is through our teams we have the most amazing people. And this doctor out of Norway tried to help me at this same time in October of 2005, and he couldn't. He said, Joan, you need to get your affairs in order. Your brain is trying to kill you and your nervous system. I'm going to try and get you help, but you need to go home and get things together. That was hard to hear. We were in Nashville. I'll never forget it. So that's what I did. But lo and behold, through this beautiful company, things happen. And through this gentleman, Dr. Casper Andresen, he talked to a lead neurologist and brain fellow who works with the brain, Dr. Ted Carrick. And he went looking for his top student in Canada, and he found him in Winnipeg. And I got the phone call before Christmas. So enter into January 2006, right after this phone call from the doctor to get on a plane quickly. My life began like juggling bubbles in a hurricane. I don't know how else to describe it. I was NMD, but my path had completely shifted. My early retirement was there, and it was gone in a minute. It was crazy. I don't know if somebody can really juggle bubbles in a hurricane, but I was certainly trying. And, in 2006, my health bills, I got on this plane. I remember it January 5th. I got on the plane, and my ex-husband walked out the door and left me dying and bankrupt. And I went to see this doctor, and I really didn't have a lot of hope because most people walk away from me. They can't help me. And he was willing to help. But he was in Manitoba, a province away and an airplane away. So my health bills soared to $6,000 a month to keep me alive. I was flying to Winnipeg from Regina, Saskatchewan once a week, every week. I was there for 3 days. I would come home for 4. I'd leave again for 3. I had to do that because I had to keep me home. I had to fight the creditors. I had to fight the lawyers. I had to keep my contract business running. I had to keep Juice Plus running because I needed all the money I could to keep my life going, to keep the roof over my head, and to pay these bills. So I decided that I was in this situation, and the doctor had talked to me, and I thought, you know, I'm going to stay alive long enough to get myself out of corporate bankruptcy so my parents don't have to deal with this situation. And that was my whole reason for being at that time, was to breathe, pay off all the bills, and then, you know what, I'm good, I can go. So that was sort of my mindset of what I was doing. So I accelerated my goals in my consulting business, and I accelerated some goals in Juice Plus. And it was like clockwork, and I just worked and worked and worked. And my Juice Plus residual income, that was, you know, my retirement goal, this residual thing just kept flowing along beside me like clockwork. And it actually became my financial lifeline, because if I didn't have it, I don't know if you could pay $6,000 in medical bills or whatever, you know, surprise of financial stress that might come to you. That's what this business did for me. So I encourage everyone to build it, because you never know when you're going to need that extra income. And you know, it worked. I stayed true. And as Nicole said, I never gave up. I showed up to everything I could. At one time they did take me out of the scene because airplanes were really hard on me with the altitude of my brain, as were loud crowds, but I wanted to somehow get back and tell my story. So I just kept going. And then when you know it, I made it. It was like 2010, my business momentum had dropped a little bit because I was on a cliff at times. And as my doctor said, you know, I can't help you get off this cliff. You need to slow down. But I had all these bills to pay. So I kept going for 5 years, like steamrolled ahead. And you know, I made it in 2010 with this amazing Juice Plus team that I have in this company, and I cannot thank them enough for being there by my side. I got my creditors paid. I got my house and my name secured. My health puzzle, I was getting off this cliff, so there was good news for me there. And the most important part about all that is, you know what? My body, my physiology, everything stayed healthy, strong, and disease-free. Despite being intention that I had to put myself in every day, the brain exercises I had to do, and the physical exercises, it was amazing. And you know, I wouldn't have survived it in any way, because you know, this Juice Plus, I think I eat more in a week than most people eat in a month. And I still do that today to keep my brain firing and to keep my body going. And you know, my Juice Plus just became my plan for fueling for repair and recovery. And you know, it was, you know, thank God on all fronts for Juice Plus. So I was ready to engage back and start to take choice in my life and go back to retiring into Juice Plus, because that's what I really wanted to do. So I was working hard on that. And then, you know, in 2011, as Nicole mentioned, love enters in at some place in your life. And, you know, I began dating a longtime friend of mine and my soulmate, Richard Neslet, who I now am engaged to and live with. And, you know, it was really turning a corner for me. We were happy. This is where we were going to go, and we were beginning a journey. And within just a couple of weeks of dating, the most bizarre thing happened. And I don't know how else to describe it, but Richard was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And our hearts broke. We finally had found each other, and we just couldn't believe this was happening. And so we had a very curt discussion, and he was very willing to live and to fight for his life. And I was really willing to be by his side and hold his hand in his heart. I wasn't going to let my best friend go. So I thought, you know what? We're just, this is a point where you got to give blessings for this company we have, because this community of medical professionals that we have are phenomenal, where they can help guide you and walk you through and give you advice and guidance. So, you know, we locked arms with a few people, and really strongly with BeatCancer.org with Dr. Susan Silverstein, who's an educational partner with our company. And I'd heard so many lectures that I knew there was hope for Richard. There's hope for all of us that have challenges in our health if we're willing to do the homework. So we decided, as they always talk about, to create an environment where cancer can't live. And we held on to hope really hard. So that's what we did. And we began fighting this war. And they had given him 6 months to live. And you know what? We won. And 5 years later, you know, 5 years in May, Richard was cancer free. And this disease is gone. They cut both his kidneys in half, which they only thought he'd ever have a quarter of his kidneys left. And it was in his lung, his left lung, his stomach, and his liver. And it's not there anymore. And we did it all through diet and love, I'm sure. It all, you know, positive thinking, mindset, all these great things you do. And so we just say today, you know, when we share Juice Plus, you know, Richard is now a patient with a cancer history. His health is the best it's ever been that he has seen. And he has another story to his health because his pacemaker, as a retired police officer, he's in a police car accident, has gone from 68% usage to less than 0.1% usage since we began the journey with Juice Plus and his diet 5 years ago. And they're talking about taking his pacemaker out. It has healed his circulatory and where he tore his ventricles. They can't believe it. So we are so blessed. This company, this research, you know, the research is proof, but the stories are real. And we have a few of them ourselves and throughout our team and our customers. And I just think that, you know, this is so much the best place to be. So when you look at a company and you look at our business, you know, you've got to love the knowledge. You've got to love the connections that this company brings. And it inspires, you know, us on all levels. So these Prevention Plus speakers that come, you need to be in attendance in those rooms. And you got to have as many guests in those seats as you can, because they're going to hear something they need to hear for them. And these speakers are powerful. Like they can help us change our health status and have the mindset to do so and incorporate Juice Plus with all this research. They simplify it for everyone beyond that it's just, you know, fruits and veg in a capsule, which is the simplest thing anyway. But, you know, it's just the community we have, the pieces that have come together in my life over the, you know, now 20 years in this business. I just still cannot imagine a better place to be. And I retired. You know, I was finally able to retire in 2013 to be with Richard and move to Saskatoon and travel and do our life. And that's what we love the most. And I get to be at home. So when he's here and he comes home, I can adjust my schedule to his work. And you know, it's funny. Things happen again. And now we've had changes again in Richard's work. And he's on pause right now. And we're not worried. Our business has us covered, you know. So this safety net of a plan B that becomes a plan A, like it's a miracle that it's a gift. We have the best thing to give people. We just need to go out and share it. So, you know, it was amazing to be able to take that choice back to retire. And that's what I did when I turned 50. So that was pretty exciting for me. So, you know, kind of everything happened at the same time. Kind of turned 50, kind of got engaged, you know, did a few things. And, you know, the best part was I got to dream again. When I was back in my blur of my health, and don't get me wrong, I still am very challenged with my health. I just fell and broke my foot in 3 places and tore my ankle in Jamaica because I moved my head wrong. I have to be careful, but I work hard at it every day. But the neat part is about, you know, when I was in this fog of my health, I couldn't even plan for the end of a week. I didn't know if I was going to live till tomorrow. I remember my girlfriend on the phone talking me down in the middle of the night when I was trying to get home in an airport or when I was not well and in my home. But I get to dream again. And I think people don't dream, and I forgot what it was like to dream. And, you know, now Richard and I get to do that. And it's the best feeling in the world when you create that ability in your life to dream. And we must create it because our JOBs won't give it to us, you know, the way we need it. So our next plan is to completely retire Richard right into this lifestyle with me. I need a playmate by my side, and he's it, tag. We've got lots of years to make up on and memories to create. So that's the lifestyle that we're working on through our business. And, you know, I ask you and I challenge you with this is, you know, what is the life you want to create for you and your family? You need to look at that. You need to say, if I had a choice of how I could live, will you go create it? Because you can live that way. It may not be a straight road to there, but you can go and get it if you want it. No excuses. You know, it's just priorities that we choose and how we choose it. So, you know, today I look at our life and living to my true purpose, to my heart, to be able to reach out and give hope and to give health to people. It's probably the best gift I can give people. I look at, you know, this inspiring, healthy living mission statement we have. And really, it is not just about nutrition and physical health. It's about financial health, which I've been through and still am in at times. It's about belonging. It's about community. It's about healthy relationships. Anything that makes your life whole or better, man, that's what we get to do in this Juice Plus business. So I really say to you, go out and grab what you want. Build a network. We have, network marketing is the new economy. We are seeing the strength in it, and it takes time to build it, but you can do it. Don't give up. I never gave up. I just knew my road would be longer than maybe Nicole's or Melissa's, because I'm just not capable to do sometimes. And I had roadblocks, and they've had roadblocks too. So we all have to take a deep breath, set our goals, maybe reset them, but we don't let go of them. We might change the road to get there, but you don't let go of your goal ever. So, that's what I teach my team. I find ways to work with them. We're also very different. And I just want to find out what's in their heart and what's going to work for them and how they learn and what they need from us to really carry out the life that they want to create, because that's what we offer. And that's what we sign up for when we sign people on the dotted line to be a rep with us. We say we will give them our all to help them succeed. And of course, they have to bring their connections and work alongside us, but we're there every step of the way. And that's our commitment. And, it's a little mindset shift. It's doing things differently. I've done things very differently in my life. From turning off the lights to not having stimulus to I can't do and go to our big gala parties at the conference. And those are just things I can't do, but it doesn't mean I can't participate in the conference. And it doesn't mean that I can't do this business. We all have the same tools. We have the same business. It's just a choice. So that's my story. That's so much more to come. I can hardly wait. I'm 53 and it's just more to go. There's just more to do. And I just want to be a part of the world doing it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joan. Can you stay on for a few minutes for maybe a couple of questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Does anybody have any comments or questions you want to share with Joan tonight? Karen, I saw you getting teary-eyed.
I think everyone got teary-eyed.
I just wanted to say thank you for sharing from your heart. That's like the craziest story I've ever heard. And you want to talk about blowing through excuses. There's nothing that you can't do and that we can't do. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Just, and I just say this from my heart to all of you, be gentle with yourself, but be objective to get where you want to go. Life isn't straight. And maybe my mindset and my determination is a different way than others. And I have to recognize and I have to honor everybody else's. And you all have what you need to do in life. And don't ever feel like you shouldn't do those priorities. But if you want the goal of our business, you have to find a way to make it work within your parameters of what you can do. You might not be a Joan Johns, but you are you. And that is beautiful.
Awesome. Anybody else before we stop recording and say goodbye to Joan because she's got another conference call? Anybody else? Okay, I think everybody's still wiping up their tears. Thank you so much, Joan, for joining us and sharing from your heart. We love you so much, and you're such an inspiration and role model for all of us women in our team and around Canada, around the world. You never gave up, and you never let the excuses slow you down, and you went right to the top. And I love how you're creating what did you call a tag team? And bringing your partner in to make this a dream together. So I love it. Thank you so much. And we'll see you at conference in a couple months.
I look so forward to that. I hope to see all of you there. Wouldn't that be marvelous?
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.